Hey everyone, Mr. Mom Collectibles. I am back with another Hot Toys 1/6 scale figure review and unboxing. And today we have the Hot Toys MMS 698 WB100 Wonder Woman. This is one I'm so excited to have in the collection, be able to unbox this and review and show you guys everything it comes with. If you guys are watching this video, consider dropping a like on this video below. And also, if you're new to the channel, and you like the content, this and future content, please consider subscribing to the channel for future reviews, live streams, and other videos of such. But let's go right into it. When Hot Toys announced this figure, it's something I knew I had to have in my collection. I'm a huge Gal Gadot Wonder Woman fan, and I'm really excited to take a look at this and look at everything it comes with and the precedents this may set going forward for their DX Artisan series line. Before we get into that, I just want to give a huge shout out and a thank you to William Wong, who helped secure this figure for me. Without him, this review wouldn't be possible and the figure wouldn't be in my collection. There's his Facebook group right there. I will drop a link to that Facebook group in the description below. William Wong is a person that can get pretty much anything. He does pre-orders of Hot Toys, statues, gets grails, anything, and he has a fantastic reputation in the community. So I definitely thank you so much to William. So that being said, I want to do a quick box comparison for you guys. And now this is the Wonder Woman box next to the Hot Toys Mysterio figure from Spider-Man Far From Home. And so you can see here, it's a massive box, a lot of stuff that comes inside of it, but I just want to give you an idea of the actual scale of the box itself. And what we're going to do now is take a look at the contents. So this is it turned on its side, and now we're going to open this up and see what it comes with. So as I said, the box itself is pretty large, and like I said, from William, he packaged this thing, bubble wrap, triple wrapped it. The thing came immaculate condition, so the shipping was fantastic, no damages to anything whatsoever. Everything was in pristine condition. So the packaging on this is a little bit different compared to other Hot Toys figures. Some things are the same, but they definitely put a different twist to some others. So when you first remove the top piece of the box, you have obviously an insert, a white insert, pretty basic. It has some detailing work at the bottom, you can see there, and then it has the Wonder Woman logo in the center saying Wonder Woman. Just a nice, elegant, simple touch, nothing too crazy, fancy, very clean looking. I really like the modern look to it, simplistic. Then here you have a big foam insert that protects it. There's a little notch there in the bottom corner that you can actually stick your finger in and pop this out. So I do like the foam padding to protect everything, and there you have all the contents to the figure. Everything is laid out separated. I do like this a lot versus the plastic clam trays. So there's a great layout to the figure, and you can tell everything is really protected. You have the body itself. You have the leather harness for the sword and the shield. You also have the shield itself, the sword. You also have various sets of hands, which we'll look at. You also have two alternate gauntlets. You have a little clamshell with additional accessories, the lasso, the pegs and things. You also have the wrist pegs here. You also have the stand and accessories underneath. And the head sculpt is packaged separately, which I'm so excited about. That was a major concern for a lot of collectors in how they were going to actually package the head sculpt. And I have to say, I'm so glad they took that route. Obviously taking a cue from, I would suggest, In Art, who packaged theirs separately, and I really like that they did this as well. And their head sculpt is actually on a peg, so it's fixated, and they have a piece of foam on top to keep it protected, and there's really no way that this thing can shift around, and it comes with a piece of cellophane wrapped around that I just removed there. But the head sculpt is packaged very well. I did actually shake it around a few times to see how loose it is. It is very snug, very tight. It really can't move. There's no way that this head sculpt could really bounce around. So for packaging wise, I think they did a fantastic job of separating the sculpt from the body. There was major concerns, as I said. I did have them as well, of how this was actually going to be packaged. I was really concerned that they were going to keep the head sculpt on the body and just maybe wrap the hair around with some plastic, but kudos to Hot Toys for doing the right thing and packaging it separately. So that being said, we're going to jump into probably the main feature of this figure. A lot of the other components on this, as we know, are most likely recycled pieces. Probably, I call it a greatest hits, if you will, of all the previous Wonder Woman figures. They kind of put them all together. So really the newest feature is what you're seeing, is the head sculpt. And what I mean by the head sculpt is the head sculpt does look like it's another, it's a reused head sculpt per se, from a previous version of Wonder Woman. But the rooted wool hair is the main feature here in the packaging. So what you're seeing here is I want to do a video of basically no breaks. I want you guys to see how this arrived, and we're going to open this up. So there's going to be no real edits here, no quick cuts. So that's the figure. That's the head sculpt itself. As I said, came perfectly packaged. I give Hot Toys credit for the way it was. I'm going to put on the rotating space here and turn it on, and we're going to zoom in a little bit. And I'm just going to go step by step on this because, like I said, I want to take my time with showing you everything that this has because, like I said, this is really the main feature of the figure, which is the wool hair. And I have some feedback on it, some good things and some criticisms that I think, and it's going to open up some more questions I have for the DX Artisan series going forward, which is nice, which is not a bad thing. So like I said, the packaging on this is great. The head sculpt, I have no issues with the head sculpt. The previous Wonder Woman figures I have the 1984, and I have the golden armor. It resembles more of the golden armor. Some say the training armor. I'm sure there's going to be future reviews out there that have more comparisons of previous Wonder Woman figures. Obviously, a criticism is it doesn't have the rolling eye feature, which would have been a really nice feature to have the purse system, just to give it a little added, elevated a little bit more. So the eyes are slightly offset, so it does limit the posing and things like that because you can't, manipulate the eyes, which has become kind of a common feature. Now, the one thing to be noticing is the plexi case. It was very snug. As you can see here, there's like a lip. Like the bottom base plate is a little bit larger than the top. So I was taking my fingernail and kind of rubbing it, running across the bottom. You see to free it open. And, it was very tight to get this thing off. And you see there it popped off rather with a little bit of force. But nevertheless, you pop that out. Just be gentle with it to take it apart. And then you also have the plastic that's wrapped around the head. It just lays on there. I don't know how to explain it. It's not form-fitting, so there's no damage. So you can just slip it right off, no issues. I know a lot of people worry about like the plastic. Does it do any damage to the hair or anything like that? I can confirm with mine at least. You can see it's oversized. So it's just to make sure everything, it's not rubbing against anything or that matter. But the plastic that goes around it, you see it's super loose. It's just to keep it kind of contained, and it slips right off and doesn't do any damage when, you see there's the sculpt and the hair. So the hair, it looks fantastic. I'm going to be very upfront. Does this look like Gal Gadot's hair? No, it does not. It looks like a rooted, wool hair, so to speak, more generic. If you compare this to photos of Gal Gadot, her hair is, it's wavy in certain spots. There's a lot going on to it. You could see the individual curls that they did there. So it's all pre-done for you, which I think is still great. So if you're going to make the comparison, like, oh, does it look like Gal Gadot's hair? I don't think it does, but it's a fantastic, idealized version, if you want to say, for what the first attempt at a slightly mass-produced figure. I think it was 1,500 pieces or so overall. But the hair looks fantastic. So if you went to an independent rooter who's an artist, yeah, they can get you definitely probably a more accurate representation of what her hair looks like, but you're going to be paying a higher fee. So we're trying to keep this all into consideration for what we're looking at. For Hot Toys, though, I think it's a great first attempt. Now, where I say this opens up questions for me with the Artisan series, they definitely did something to the hair up top, from like the ear up. They definitely applied either some kind of, I don't want to use the word necessarily glue, or some kind of solution or additive that kept it really in place. So as you can see here, the maintenance I had to do on this was next to zero. You've seen it so far. Everything you're seeing in this, there's no cuts. This is exactly how I maintain the figure. There was next to no maintenance on this that I had to do. So people are worried about having to style it out of the box. Like the golden armor, I had to style that to get it to look somewhat presentable. What you see is what I got so far. A couple loose strands there, but nothing to make a big fuss about. You can see the part up top and the top of the head. It's near rock solid where it really doesn't move. So they definitely applied some kind of solution, additive, or conditioned it to some extent to keep that in place. And I think the goal with Hot Toys is that they're trying to minimize the effort for the collector. They're really trying to have everything done for you, so that way you don't have to do anything as a collector. They're trying to eliminate the aspect of you having to style the figure itself. So I'm trying to zoom in a little bit here so you can see the part. So you can definitely see there is some kind of there's solution in there or something like that. Some people have said glue. Can't confirm what it is exactly, but there is something applied to that to keep that part near perfect. As I said, to even now, I haven't touched it whatsoever. The styling is how it was, and this is how it went on the figure once I put it on the body. So I think that's a very interesting approach, and I really want to see how this is compared to the Artisan series, if they're going to continue with that and put some kind of additive or solution in the hair to where when it's out of the box, the collector doesn't have to touch it. I think that's what they're trying to go for, is to have the collectors not have to, eliminate the hassle approach. Whether that's a good thing or not, I just know that the average comment is the collectors don't want to have to deal with touching the hair. They want to be able to take the head sculpt and pop it right on. And I think Hot Toys is putting, they're going in the right direction with that. So this is something really interesting to look at going forward, especially with the DX Artisan series line of figures. And here I just wanted to do a quick comparison to the 1984 Sculpted. You can see the head sculpt's different, the hair representation, major differences here between the Sculpted, which I still think is a fantastic version, just many differences. And then here is another one. This is the Golden Armor version, and you can see the hair. Now this is how the head sculpt looked when I took off the helmet and the guard around, and this is how the hair was. So major differences. A lot of work would have to get done to that hair if I wanted to try to get it in a more presentable manner, so to speak. And here we want to go over all the accessories that actually come with the figure, a little overview. So you have the figure itself, you have the shield, we have the base with the waist clamp, which is a little bit smaller compared to others, a clear pole. This is the display stand for the sword, which we'll get into. The two golden wraps that are part of the display piece, which we'll talk about shortly. You also get the leather harness, pair of extra wrist pegs, the sword. We also get an assortment of hands, closed and open, plus the alternate gauntlets and a little clam tray that comes with the alternate, the lasso options and the tiara and other options like that we'll go through. The first thing I want to talk about, the waist clamp. It's smaller compared to, you put that on the clear rod. No different, but it's a smaller piece, so it obviously fits the Wonder Woman figure perfectly. Smaller compared to other ones. Now I want to talk about the base. Nice design on it. It's hollow on the inside, very lightweight. A little bit different than what we're normally used to with Hot Toys, but it's basic. I like the design, the print, the color. Everything looks good. Like I said, pretty straightforward. It's different compared to the standard Hot Toys bases that you normally get, but does serve a couple purposes. It does have the little hole up there for the clear rod to go into for the waist clamp. And it also has a little, which is very interesting, the attachment of how you actually assemble the Wonder Woman, the rest of the display. It actually utilizes part of this base as well, which we'll get into. But I'm just demonstrating right there. You just put the clear pole in the back, then you would assemble the waist clamp, and pretty much, it's pretty straightforward at that part. The next accessory, which I was very excited about, which I hadn't had with previous Wonder Woman figures, is the shield. Like I said, this is nothing original. Nothing original. Came with previous versions from the Solo movie. But the detailing on this is great. First time for me having it. I love all the detailing work around the edge and the actual shield itself. Paint applications are fantastic. The straps look to be molded plastic. I thought that they would be pleather or even leather, but they look from appearance to be some kind of molded plastic. But even the inside, the gold inlay, fantastic. Like I said, this is my first time having it, so new to me. Absolutely love that piece. And then speaking of the sword, which is another option, extra that I wish that I had it with previous Wonder Woman figures. But once again, the detailing, the scroll work, the engravings on the blade itself, the paint application. I mean, there's not much that you can say about this. The sword is just fantastic. I will have mine displayed with this along with the shield. Like I said, the one criticism to the 84, which they weren't used in the movie, but I wish we would have gotten a sword and a shield. But as I said, they weren't in the movie itself, so understandably so. And then here also is a nice display stand. I believe this came with one of the original Solo Wonder Woman figures, possibly the training armor, if I'm not mistaken. Once again, not an original piece. But I do love the option if you want to actually display the sword this way. If you don't want Wonder Woman to be holding it or having it on the leather holster. Really nice piece. Like I said, the paint application is really great and pretty simple, straightforward. The sword is kind of reminds me of like a King Arthur style, where you just insert the sword in there, kind of like an Excalibur type of setup. But it's really nice if you want to display it that way. Another great option to have as well. Then you also get an alternate pair of gauntlets. that are not on the figure. The ones that are on the figure are the standard Wonder Woman gauntlets. And these ones are ones if you want to swap out as if she's like ricocheting bullets, or if she's going to, obviously do the pose where she kind of bangs them both together to create some, effects. So they're a nice option to have if you want to use those in some kind of like power pose or, action sequence or something of that nature. And then once again, the hands. You get an assortment of hands for different versions for holding the lasso, for holding the sword, the shield, or just kind of open hand palm. So paint applications are great. They come with the wraps on them already, which is all molded plastic. Once again, great paint applications. The detailing look fantastic, and they all mostly serve a purpose, like I said, for either the shield, the sword, the lasso, or neutral expression, kind of one open. They already comes with the two, fists come on the Wonder Woman figure itself, but like I said, the paint applications, they look really great, and detailing in the hands and the sculpt is fantastic as well. And the final is a little clam tray that comes with smaller accessories. They really broke everything out on the figure to kind of give you an elevated experience by dressing the figure with a lot of all these little accessories. You have the tiara, and then you have the little armband that goes on her left arm, on her, around her tricep. And then you have the two versions of the lasso. You have the lasso that you can unravel, and then you have the little molded plastic piece that you would put in her hand if you wanted her holding the lasso. And then you finally have two black clips, which will show. You only need one of them, but they demonstrate how you actually hold the shield onto the figure. And one great piece is the actual harness. It's fantastic finding out that this is actually made of leather. So it's really great. So we know that realistically it's going to hold up longer than the pleather or fake leather that we have. This utilizes holding the lasso, the sword, and the shield. Now, positive is that it's made out of leather. Really love it a lot. There is a little bit of a negative that I have with it that I saw in a couple of the reviews. Honestly, I thought it was kind of overreacting, but putting it on the figure, I did notice something that was bothering me about this. The fact that we'll get into that in a minute when I actually dress it on the figure. And then you have here, these are the gold wraps that are part of the rest of the display base. There's two of them when you unravel them. Now keep in mind, these actually have pieces of clear plastic over them to protect them from scratching, so make sure you actually remove them and follow the instructions. I'm not usually an instruction person, but building this, because previous videos really didn't show you how to put the display together, and this is the part of the backdrop if you want to use it. It's basically all just plastic, but there wasn't a lot of real good instruction videos, so I attempted to kind of give some instruction. So going through the instructions, this shows you how to actually display the display stand. Now, like I said, there's the main piece, which is the big W, and there's two little gold banners. Please make sure you identify which one is A and B based on the little slots that you see there, and read the instructions. They tell you how to do that. And then the second part is it actually shows you how to bend the clear plastic, and it actually slots into the circular round base on the Wonder Woman display. You wouldn't think of it by first looking at it, but there is a very narrow little slit that this actually locks into, and I'll show you in the video. And this shows you how to actually bend it. It's like a trifold bend. So you have to bend it, and then the centerpiece actually slips into a little housing on the Wonder Woman, the circular black display base. So just make sure you follow that. And then here, these instructions actually show you, so there's an A slip, there's an A piece and a B piece, and it actually shows you take the A piece, and this is actually showing you where to start the, where to insert it, and then wrap it around. The idea is that these two gold bands are supposed to kind of elegantly flow around and then tie into the display base. I had a little bit of trouble figuring it out. Had to look at some reference photos just to make sure, but I just wanted to kind of give a breakdown on this, and this is just showing you how to actually wrap each individual A and B strand of the gold banners, and then how they actually insert into the base itself. And like I said, when you look at the base there, you really can't tell from the naked eye, but there is just a little slit, and you can see there, there's a little, like the colored portion of it that has the W on there. There's just fairly like a little slit there that these actually tie into. But this is just trying to give you an idea. If anyone will need this as a visual guide when you get your figure, hopefully you can at least look at this and kind of give you an idea of kind of how these go and how they wrap into each other and how they assemble. You can see that's the A piece, starts at the top, and it's very intricate how this actually weaves into. And this clear display stand has slits in it that these actually slide into, and you can see that's the A piece, and then the B one wraps in a different direction. And like I said, I'm just showing you the A piece, and that's the B. It locks in there, and it kind of twirls around, goes behind, and then they're hanging out. And I'm actually going to show you how to actually insert these into the main base itself. And as I said, looking at the base, you wouldn't think there was a slit there. Right where my finger is, you can ever so see a little gap there, and that's actually what you take this first piece and you just slide it right in and just locks into place. There's nothing like, you don't hear any clicking or anything. It slides in and pressure keeps it in place. And then the B piece, it kind of overlaps it. You'll see there, it overlaps the A a little bit and then just snugs right in. At first I got it in there, but then you just kind of dress it up, make sure everything there's no creasing and it flows nice and elegant. That's the idea, is that you just have nice winding curves and bends. So it did take me a little bit of time to get it kind of set up the way I wanted to make sure everything was in position. Did a little bit of tweaking after the video, but I hope that looking at this, for anyone who gets this figure, kind of gives you like a visual guide in terms of that, because none of the video reviews that I've seen really break down the display base. So for me, I had a little bit of trouble with the instructions, so I kind of took a little bit, but I just wanted to give you guys a kind of an up and down view of what the display is supposed to look like. Once it's put together though, it looks fantastic. I'm not someone that normally displays these kind of tchotchke things with my figures, but because of, you know, this figure was expensive and it really has all this stuff, I'm going to be displaying it with everything. So it does look really good in the final setup, which I'll show you guys at the end of the video what it looks like with the figure on the display base. But like I said, it looks fantastic. Feels kind of cheap to me because it's just all plastic, and you know, you don't want to overbend a lot of this stuff because it could have some creasing in it. But once it's put together, I gotta say it does look pretty cool and really gives a nice visual presentation to the figure. Now I promise guys, we're getting there. So now next thing we're gonna do is basically I just want to go through all the dressings. I put the little arm sleeve on, basically just took off the arm gauntlet and the hand and just slid it on up. Just got into the right position. It went on very easily, even with the silicone body. There was no rubbing, no issues of anything of that nature. Put the gauntlet back on, and then I put the arm back, back in the peg. No issue. Now here's the harness. Harness has two Velcro straps on the back. You'll see on the left and right side. I'm actually going to take it off the figure and then redress the figure. But as I'm doing this, just to give you an idea, here's the issue I have with the leather harness. It's made of all leather, so it should last. Durability is fantastic, right? Now, in terms of filming this portion of it, the problem I have is the underside of the harness. The underside is just exposed material. I don't even want to call it rawhide, or the exposed particles of it. The problem is that that got on the figure silicone body. I noticed once I put the harness on, I did this portion of the video, I noticed there was all these little black flakes all over the back side of the body. Trust me, they come off. I just had to wipe them off. But it was the underside of the harness, the material, which is kind of it was kind of flaking off onto the body. You see there me dusting it off. And I noticed, I was like, what is this stuff? And I left it in the video because I want you guys to understand this. And because of the silicone, it was attaching itself to the silicone. You can see the underside there. I'm trying to give you an idea, but it does come off. The figure's clean, but I just want you to be aware if you see any of this like little flaking or anything like that, it's the material on the underside of the harness that's like kind of latched itself to the figure. No staining, it's in perfect condition, just got to wipe it down, no issues, but I do want people to be aware of that. The next portion is the lasso, very simply, little leather strap, little buckle right there, you just unbuckle this. I'm not unraveling the harness, I'm leaving it stock as it came, because I know previous experiences when you unravel these things, you can never get them back the same way, so I'm leaving mine stock as it came out of the box, but you latch that on, very simple, put the clasp back together, and it's not going anywhere, so that's perfect here. The next portion is going to be the sword. There's two little loops, there's one at the top shoulder, and there's one at the bottom, so you just put those into position, and the sword itself just slots itself right in, nice and simple. So I'm going to be displaying my figure with the sword in hand, but for those who want to display it on the back side of the harness, that's how you do it, very simply. And in the next portion, we're going to be talking about the shield itself. So with the shield, you get two black clips. You only need to use one of them. One is just in case you lose it. So you take the clip, and the instructions show you take the more narrow piece, and it latches back onto the top loop where the sword is, and then you just hang the shield on. Now, I don't like this look because it looks flimsy. It doesn't look really secure. I know the old Captain America figures, that's kind of the shield hook system, and in the instructions they tell you to use the larger of the two loops on the shield, and as you see, it kind of just droops. There's really nothing holding it in place. If I did this wrong, someone can correct me in the comments, but I don't like the look personally because it might pull on the leather. But that's how I think I read it in the instructions. Unless someone wants to correct me otherwise, I'm always open to criticism. But like I said, not really a fan of the look. It's not going to bother me a lot because my figure is displayed with the shield in hand, as with many people probably have it that way with the sword. But like I said, I looked over the instructions. I may have very well overglanced it, but if I'm wrong, I stand corrected. I have no problem admitting that. But it looks good from that angle, but I'm not displaying my figure that way personally. Now we come to the portion of the head sculpt and putting on the tiara. And the inside of it has three little foam pieces of padding, so that way you don't actually damage the sculpt. And it's basically pressure fitted, very easy to put on. You just slide it right on the forehead, and it kind of sets itself. I think I pushed back the hair a little bit just to make sure I got it on the underside. I wasn't catching the hair on the inside, so I just moved the hair out of the way a little bit. But minor positioning. Once you get it, kind of fits itself is a nice way of saying. And I just checked the hair, but that's the final sculpt with the tiara on. It looks fantastic. Looks like the character. Looks just like Gal Gadot. From my previous experience in reviewing the Golden Armor Wonder Woman, sometimes it's hard to capture the sculptness like on camera. But like I said, I think it looks really great. I think the likeness is there. I think it's the best version that they've done, Hot Toys for that matter. But this is what the sculpt looks like with the tiara on. Like I said, very easy to put on. It basically fits itself. And I just wanted to give you guys a couple, shots here. Now, not cutting. This is me installing the head sculpt on the body. So I don't want there to be any, cuts showing, oh, there might be styling. You're going to see me installing the head sculpt. So forgive any crude type of actions with the editing. But the head sculpt, it was very fitted on this pole. Pops right off, as you can see. A little extra force, but that's what it looks like. And installing it onto the head sculpt. And this was a concern of mine where I kind of was hoping that in the future we get magnetic head sculpts just to make sure, because sometimes fitting the head sculpts on with the ball joint can be difficult. But there you go. I installed it on there. Minor futzing with the hair. You see here, just kind of put it in place. Just moving some stuff around, but really minimal maintenance needed to be done on this, and that's the installation. I know I had questions of that, of how this would be, removing the sculpt from the plastic container onto the body, and what kind of futzing would have to be done with the hair. And as you can see, next to minimal work. The only adjustments I made just for style purposes is the hair over the front shoulder. I just kind of styled it, just pushed it into a different direction. But other than that, though, it's been pretty much, it's kind of fixated to be this way. So a lot of photos and things you'll see online kind of probably have the similar style with the one piece over the shoulder. Mine might be look a little different because when I restyled it, I took the sword and the shield off, so the hair, kind of laid a little more flat. But I mean, from there, I gotta give kudos to Hot Toys for making the transition effortless. And a lot of concerns people may have, I hope they don't after seeing this. So this is the portion where I want to give you kind of my final thoughts on the figure, and questions that I had, where they answered, and more opened up after having this figure. This video is just going to this portion of the video is just showing the figure on the base. I'm going to go up and down, let it rotate while I kind of talk over it. Does it meet my expectations? Yes, I think it's the best Wonder Woman figure that Hot Toys has made to date. Understanding that this is pretty much either a Frankenstein or a kit bash, where they took the greatest hits of Wonder Woman and they put her together, and this is what we have. Is there anything wrong with that? No. I mean, they've made multiple figures in the past. If you were to get one Wonder Woman figure, is this the one to get? Yes. Am I concerned about having the rooted hair in terms of the maintenance? No, I don't think so. Most likely I'll be doing a 60-day or a 30-day follow-up video to see what the maintenance is going to be like on this, because I know people might have those questions of how maintaining this will be going forward. So I will be doing follow-up videos, shorter videos of that. Is it worth the price? It's probably reached its peak. Anything more than that, I would question. Obviously the hair, I don't know if it's a dead ringer for Gal Gadot. I'm not too sure about that. I'm not happy about the leather harness, how the underside of the piece, was kind of like not flaking, but like some of the material had residual pieces on the body that had to clean off. Not a big deal, but you want to make sure that's good. But I am happy that the harness is leather, so that the deterioration aspect, there really shouldn't be any. It really leaves the door open for how they're going to treat the Artisan series going forward, because I really like the idea that Hot Toys is trying to go with the approach of kind of like, we're doing it for you to the collector, meaning you don't have to worry about getting this out of the box and having to style the hair if it's going to be right, or having problems with the rooted, because a lot of people are very scared about going down the path of rooted, and in terms of the complications of getting it out of the box. So I mean, I think Hot Toys, that's the route they might be going with. I know I'm really excited to compare this to the DX Artisan Anakin Skywalker and the Joker, and to see what improvements are actually made on rooted hair with those figures compared to this Wonder Woman. But I do think that this Wonder Woman is a fantastic step in the right direction. Is it something that I would call final? No, there's always room to improve. And I think that's what you're going to see the DX Artisan line. Now here, I'm just once again giving you a little bit of comparisons in the final moments of this video, where you have the WB100 Wonder Woman in the center. On the left side, you have the sculpted hair 1984 Wonder Woman, and on the right side, you have the rooted hair Golden Armor Wonder Woman. So, like I said, my final thoughts are I'm extremely happy with this figure. Am I happy it's in my collection? 100%. Do I have any doubts of buying it? Absolutely not. That's just me personally. I saw this figure instantly. I wanted it, and to be honest with you, my expectations were met on the figure. I think that this is more like their first step into this game. I don't consider this as the final product. I think there is more advancements that can be made, and I do see that with the Artisan Joker and the Anakin Skywalker in terms of the hair, the quality, what comes with it. I'm so happy about the packaging. I'm happy that the sculpt itself came in a separate container. I'm great with that. And once again, with the Artisan Joker and the Anakin, I'm wondering if they're going to be applying some kind of solution or anything like that to keep the hair in place, as is with Wonder Woman. But rest assured, I will be doing a follow-up video, 30 days, maybe 60 days, to see what the maintenance is like. What I'm going to do is literally pose the figure up as you see on my shelf and not touch it at all. I'm not going to touch it. I want to see if anything changes to it, and do a follow-up with you guys so you guys can understand what the upkeep, because after this video, I know there's going to be questions about, well, it looks great now, but what's it going to look like in 30 days, in 60 days, maybe 90 days? What's that figure going to look like? And so I'm going to definitely do some follow-up videos on that so you guys can check that out and take a look for yourself and see how the figure holds up over time. Once again, I want to give a huge shout out to William Wong. Like I said, without him, this video wouldn't be possible, and this figure wouldn't be in my collection. Once again, please consider dropping a like on this video. If this is your first time watching and you like the content, consider subscribing for future videos. I really appreciate it, and I hope to see other videos come out, because I'm sure there's some stuff that I missed, or to see someone's different take on this review of this figure. This was a passion project for me. I really love this figure so much, and I really want to try to explain as much as I possibly could in this video for those who are going to be getting this soon and maybe have some questions or concerns. So I hope I put some things to ease, and I really am looking forward to the future videos, and see how the maintenance is on this. So like I said, drop a comment below, and I really appreciate everyone's support, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care and have a great day.